Talk about Lee's story the other day.
I know if I go down, I can get up. I rode yesterday. So they kept saying, and it was just he goes, you didn't wear your brakes? I don't think they're good.
Of the square keys.
You want to say here with us?
Strap it and carry. That's the grip.
You can Travis.
I'm trained.
You really know if you need to discuss about county road, but
You're right.
There could have been, but it's no longer. It's before my time. I mean,
I thought maybe you look at it, trying to go to the new jail property. Well,
I don't call anything with regard to that even right away there with the county getting.
Sure, as far as I knew, the county was discussing such a thing. Mr. Barnett got his back.
What now? They did.
Haven't seen it writing anywhere. I didn't call anything about it.
That mark was
Chris, yeah. He said that he thought either his county got over the Indian or his or something like that. I mean, we'll figure it out. I'm not sure he called me about 7 o'clock last night.
He's talking about off the road. Not that I know.
I guess they figured it out.
I was on through there yesterday morning. I had everything I think, I had everything I knew I had.
I got little things.
On location.
I guess he figured it out.
They're probably still
Sometimes it doesn't.
Can I get something? There it is.
Good morning and welcome to Young County Commissioner's Court, Young County Court running. We'll call a meeting to order. This is the Commissioner's Court of Young County, Texas, meeting on Monday, February the 25th, 2019. It is 9:35 a.m. Make note that this meeting's been posted for the time and in the manner according to the terms of the Open Meetings Act. That all members of the court are present, and if it's convenient, please rise. We'll ask Commissioner Wiley if you will, the reason or invocation and our pledge.
Let's pray. Father, we just come before you this morning. We just want to thank you for this opportunity to serve, Father, in this capacity. And Father, we just ask that we have a meeting today. Father, I pray for wisdom and guidance and direction in all that we say and all we do, Father. Father, let's ask that you be with those amongst us, Father, that are sick. And let's ask your hand be upon them, Father, and those that have lost their loved ones, Father, I just pray that you just comfort them at this time. Father, we just love you and praise you, and we thank you. We ask forgiveness and we fail you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor my Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item number 3 on the agenda is public comments, announcements, and presentations. These are no action items. First, we have a notice of a cost increase by Air Med Care that will be effective on our FY20 budget. They've given us plenty of notification of that. I believe it's increasing $50. Is that right?
Oh, no, I was gonna look at it, I hadn't seen
$10
per house.
Per house.
it.
$10 per house. The next item that's noted there is the issuance of elections contracts of our elections administrator, Lauren. If you get up here and give a little projection about that, this item is not necessary for any approval or anything from the court. It's informative only.
And we do this every year where I just come in and tell you that certain entities have contracted with me to run their elections. This year it's the Olney Hamilton Hospital District and the Newcastle ISD. So I will be spending much time on the opposite side of the county for those 2.5 weeks while we run our elections. But just kind of a heads up for you guys so that you know what's going on. And anybody can still vote in either of our voting locations. So if Newcastle folks are over in Olney for the day, they can come over. Of course, they're also eligible to vote on the hospital district.
Just have one location in Olney and one in Newcastle.
That's correct. We'll be at the library in Olney and the city hall in Newcastle. So.
Just make note, this is one of the very few contracts that is permissible outside the purview of the Commissioner's Court, but it's that's 31092 of the Elections Code. It permits the election administrator to contract on their own behalf.
I like for you guys to know that I'm doing it. Just
well, it's good. It's good information. Appreciate the item and the notice, and it gets it out in.
hopefully in the public. Yeah, that would be super helpful if it was out in the public because these are smaller elections. There's not a whole lot on the ballot. The Hamilton Hospital District is doing a tax cap increase and board members, and Newcastle has got one place contested for their school board. So pretty small as far as a ballot, but big impact across that side of the county. So
Very expensive.
Very good. Thank you, Lauren. Chief Lauren doing a good job of what she does.
thank you very much.
If I could, Judge, I'd like to mention the fact that the Masonic auction, charity auction, scholarship auction, will be March 9th. So anyone who has items that they'll put in the auction, please get in touch with one of us Masons and we'll take care of that. We have 3 states and multiple zip codes out west and east of here that are going to be participating. It's a great place to get rid of the things that you don't have, that you don't need, that you need the space for. If you have an organization that would like to have a garage sale, would like for us to put on the garage sale for them, it's a good place to bring your stuff. We'll take 10% and give you 90% back, and we'll put that 10% in the scholarship for the student here. Also, we have a contingent of Graham folks going to Austin, leaving tomorrow afternoon So I'm gonna go down there and shake hands and talk to the folks down there that create all the situations that we have to deal with in both the city and the county. And so if anyone has anything that they would like for us to drop by message-wise to your legislators, please contact one of us, contact Chamber of Commerce, they're organizing it. And we'll be leaving, like I say, tomorrow, we'll be back Wednesday evening, okay?
Hope the bus doesn't break down on where they are.
We don't have, are you
What a
going?
pleasant time, no.
Who's gonna fix it?
I didn't actually fix it that last time, did
You
you?
found the problem pretty quick.
Yeah.
Another update on what's going on down in Austin. We got an update when we were at A&M last week. There've been over 3,000 bills entered in. As of Friday, there had been a bill one voted on. The situation at hand right now that's under the collar right now is the school situation that they're dealing with right now. But Senate Bill 2 and House Bill 2 is back under the situation, and that's something else that we need to be aware of and see if we can't figure out what we're going to do with that situation there.
SB 2 came out of committee with 15 amendments on it, and they're scheduled here at HB 2 on Wednesday at 9 a.m., I believe.
Yeah, but they're not getting a whole lot of response on the floor, some of the others are saying, so I'm hoping that some of them will wake up and see what's taking place.
I read 32 pages of the 65-page bill this morning, in the early hours of the morning, and there's a 25 or 26-page report that the committee made on it. So it's rather involved. It concerns the appraisal district, the appraisal review board, as well as the taxing entities. We all need to keep a very close eye on
Yes.
Is there anything else? How about anybody in the audience, they like to mention anything or promote some kind of activity or something? If not, we'll move on to item number 4. Consider county clerk minutes from previous meetings, February the 11th and February the 14th respectively, 2019. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made to these?
There is some corrections, but I believe she's made one.
She's already made the correction.
So move on
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Pruitt, second by Commissioner Wiley, to approve the minutes as presented.
it. What were those corrections?
14 was 1,000 on a tax resale deed to 1,100, just to get that on the right. And then on 14, it's the June Rogers and not June.
Okay.
We don't want to.
I tried to come back to.
Then we'll vote without knowing those changes.
I don't think Jimmy Rogers is on the board.
You don't have enough, do you remember? You don't want him there.
Well, I think I was combining them two.
I know you were. Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Carried 5-0. Item number 5 is consider treasurer's financial report and updates on security pledges.
No action today.
No action. Item number 6, consider auditor's budget amendments, vouchers payable.
I always have action.
Ms. Auditor, if you will, please.
Okay, the total of the vouchers is $125,271.13. And out of the general is $59,882.08. and there is Dawn's butane included in that.
So move with the vouchers.
Abstain.
Audrey? Yes.
Abstain.
All in favor? That'll be 4-1, noting an abstention by Commissioner Wiley. 4-0-1.
And I was gonna let you know, I got the, after a year's over, they estimate our workers' comp, by the salaries that I sent in, it's a, I go from the budget, and obviously we didn't spend as much on the salaries, so we got a reimbursement for 2018's workers' comp of $3,257. Of course, they may want that back in unemployment later, but right now,
We got to hold on to it for a little while.
we get to put it in there, and that's just information.
That's fair. We may get back sometime. Is that all, Ms. Audrey?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay. Item number 7 is consider employee bond. Please, the only one that we have is Robbie Scott Wallace, adult probation officer,
So moved.
$79,500. Second. Commissioner Wiley and Commissioner Rogers. All in favor? 5-0. Okay, item number 8. Discuss, consider hot marketing plan and discussion, consideration, approval of $3,000 budget for restoration of small cannon at Fort Belknap from our hot funds. I think Commissioner Sipes put this on there. Who would you like to call on first? Beside yourself.
Yeah, let me make a little prologue to all this. As you know, we instated a hotel occupancy tax last year, started collecting taxes in January 18, and it worked out very well. Of course, the whole situation with hotel occupancy tax money is the creation of a tourism program for the county to enhance the economic opportunities for our retailers as well as our motel people, restaurant people. Everyone's involved in the economy of Young County. With that in mind, we formed an advisory committee to handle the appropriated money, the budgeted money of $10,000 for marketing and $40,000 for restoration programs out at Fort Belknap. Fort Belknap was the emphasis because it is the one site that the county has control over and ownership of that we felt this money could best be spent on in order to increase the tourism in this area. We're very fortunate too, as the interest in Fort Belknap has grown. We were also very fortunate that the money collected met our budgetary levels. We did get enough money for the $10,000 for marketing and the $40,000 for the restoration and improvements that we plan on out at Fort Belknap. The real blessing here is that we locally have something already in place that is marketing this county and this community very well. And that, of course, is the Graham CBB and Chamber of Commerce. This marketing program that's about to be presented to you is a absolutely wonderful program from the viewpoint of marketing Young County and the Fort. I have been a marketer most of my life. In order to enhance a business, you've got to keep it out front, keep it visible. And this is designed to enhance the program that they already have in place, as well as creating some very unique items that will be unique to the Fort Belknap and the county property that we own, to enhance it so that we can really be in a position to keep and maintain that property for the next few generations. It was slowly state of decline because of the amount of money that we take from the taxpayers to put out there. This money is not coming from local taxpayers. It is a usage tax from the HOT money that we're collecting now. And This morning, I have with us Krista Dela Cruz. She is here to present the ideas that we have looked at on this marketing plan. We have an advisory committee in place also, in case all of you are wondering where this stuff's coming from. This committee has absolutely no power whatsoever. It is strictly an advisory committee, kind of screening it before we bring it to you gentlemen, so that we make sure that we're on the right track. The committee is composed of myself and Judge Bullock. There's also Krista and Skipper, Jim at the fort, and we added 2 members at the suggestion of Judge Bullock. We added Sindal McClatchy. She has bed and breakfast on kind of the north end of the county, and Gina Maxwell, whose location is probably in closer proximity so far as the fort is concerned. I can see that a lot of the commerce and visitors will be landing right there in the middle of Newcastle, which will help those folks out. So with that being said, and a little background information, I introduce to you Krista Dela Cruz.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm going to pass this out so you can read along with me.
Morning, Crystal.
Good morning.
I just realized Janai was waiting until already.
This is,
Let me give one.
yes, of course.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, we just got to see her go, but I'm going to continue marching forward. So this is basically a foundational type marketing plan to get us started. So kind of a year one, so to speak, and goes through some of those, like I said, foundational items like branding, getting a social media page started, and really selling and getting followers and communication. And then, of course, the event marketing is huge when it comes to tourism in Young County because, as we all know and have seen, that is a great way to increase traffic and to increase stay. So with occupancy tax, as you all know, it's really important that everything we do goes back to bring people in to stay in the hotels in Young County. So event marketing is one of the best ways that we can do that. So I kind of lined it out with some goals and a timeline, a budget in the back. Happy to go through some of those if you guys have questions or want more discussion on any of those specific goals. But essentially, like I said, starting with the branding guide, the logo, looking at even color choices, font choices, all of those kind of things. It's really important to have those standards in place so that we don't deviate and have a very consistent brand. And then we've, as part of the committee, the advisory committee, we've been talking about increasing the offerings to Wildcatter guests. So really marketing Fort Belknap very well to the guests staying at the Wildcatter. Right now, that's not, every once in a while, this is coming from the Wildcatter, every once in a while they will mention the fort if they have guests there for an extended stay and it's a rainy day and they can't do something else, they'll say, well, maybe you should go to Fort Belknap. Or if somebody comes and they say, we're really interested in the history here, you know, they'll send them to Fort Belknap. But what we want to do is really up that a notch and say on their list of offerings for activities, horseback riding and canoeing and those things, will they include Fort Belknap on one of those? And they're very eager to offer that as well. So I think that's going to be great for Young County, for our visitors staying here, for the fort, for Wildcatter. Everybody wins in that situation. So taking care of our guests, essentially. And then, of course, increasing awareness. And when I say that, I think probably, and I'm making an assumption here, but I think probably our residents in Young County do know about Fort Belknap. They know it exists. Hopefully they were there at one point, you know, at some point they've been there. But what we want to do is increase awareness outside of Young County. We want people to come here to visit the fort and stay in our hotels. So that, you know, in a nutshell is our goal. So these things, using social media, of course, is a really effective way to get the word out about any facility and venue. Enhancing the gift shop, and that's for several reasons. Gift shops, of course, can be a revenue stream, which is great, but also any branded item that people are going to take away, wear on their person, carry with them where they go, that's just increased marketing for Fort Belknap and for Young County. So that's an excellent way to add on to our marketing plan. The facility rental, I think right now it's rented every so often, but that's a great way to get more guests out there, staying the night there, staying the night in our hotels in Young County. And then assistance with routine events. So we already have some excellent events at Fort Belknap that I think could grow pretty considerably with a little bit more involvement from the CVB. So that's, of course, like Mr. Sykes said, that's our job there, is to bring people to Graham. And so what we want to do is focus now on bringing people to Young County, events being one of the best ways to do that. And then at the very end, of course, track and measure the success, which I feel like is very important for you all and for myself. So these are just some of those metrics that will allow us to know whether this is succeeding or whether we need to revamp or go a different direction. But we want to always make sure that we're staying focused on our mission and what we're trying to do with this program, and that it's working. So those are some of the ways that we will do that. If you turn to the next page, these just include some of those tactics that I briefly went over, but you can read them and take those with you, of course. And then if you flip one more page, there is the budget. And you'll see that I've kind of outlined that, itemized that a little bit for you all to consider. Most of those items are fairly standalone, so you could take them out or add to, depending on what you all think is the best direction. I think this makeup makes sense because I think it's going to give you the best bang for your buck, so to speak. I think it's going to be the most effective way to market tourism in Young County, utilizing the asset that already exists in Fort Bell now. But most of these are kind of built to be standalone pieces as well, so you can decide what makes the most sense. At the bottom, I've written out that we would like for this proposal to be conditional based on a unanimous vote of the commissioners. And the reason being is that we are really looking forward to working together as a team. And I know we haven't had the opportunity to do that enough in the past, but I look forward to additional opportunities as we go forward, where, you know, the City of Graham, the Chamber of Commerce, Young County, City of Newcastle, City of Olney, we can all work together. This is a common goal. There's no downside to tourism for anybody in this county. It's always a good thing. The more people that come to visit Olney, Graham benefits from that. The more people that visit Olney, Newcastle benefits that. So we want everybody to benefit from this proposal. And so I would like to ask that all of you are on board with that so that we can proceed unanimously with support. So,
Bristol, does this chamber and Olney chamber work together any on
yes, sir.
projects?
Yes, sir.
Have they been counsel with, if you will, or asked about these kind of things?
Yes, so I think that, Mr. Sykes, did you talk with the Olney Chamber?
No, we talked to Sendall McClatchy at the last meeting. Sendall McClatchy has some connections up there. And even though there's not a great deal of the HOT money coming from that area, I have Chris's agreement and commitment to work with Olney to try to better their situation. Absolutely. Mostly the money that will come into the hot fund will be from bed and breakfasts in that area. And since Ms. McClatchy owns one of those, and she also has contacts and basically a friendship with the people up there at the Chamber of Commerce, that they will also be included in this. Once again, none of these people have a great deal of authority. They're just interested parties, kind of grooming everything we do to make sure we're staying in the right direction. Krista is there more as a compliance officer to make sure that we continue to keep this hot money as hot money, because the state is very particular about the way it is used and what the end results are on it. So I think this is a very good first step, and yes, Olney has been, as everybody has. You know, we've always got the problem of geographical representation, even in a small county like this, and so we're trying to take in consideration everybody we can. As we move along, we might find we need more input from others as well, but this is a starting point because of such a wonderful marketing plan that the CVB already has. To put ours in conjunction with theirs really amplifies the worth of this marketing plan with the Graham Chamber of Commerce. And like I say, I do have the commitment from Krista that the Olney Chamber of Commerce will be included in that.
Absolutely. We enjoy working with all of our surrounding chambers of commerce, so have a good relationship with them and look forward to the opportunity to work with Mrs. Wade.
My primary concern with regard to Fort Bell now is identification moving forward, and that'd be identification coming into our county from our more major highways to identify what it is, when it was established, and a good place to come and visit, although it's going to usually only be a few hours visit there because it's such a limited space and our facilities are such that it's it would just accommodate kind of a select group, family reunion, or some kind of birthday party or something like that. History buffs that might would come in is, we have those that come in occasionally that stay around for a few days. Those are the kind of folks that are attracted here. We saw that, I guess, last summer when Texas Tech folks came down here and surveyed the Belknap Cemetery and all those kind of things. One other question, does I think the chamber already promotes Fort Belknap
Yes, sir.
to some degree anyway, and all its advertisements and this brochures and things like that?
Yes, of course, and no matter what, I mean, of course, we would continue to do that. It's important to us as a chamber and CVB that Fort Belknap continues to succeed and that the county continues to grow and do well, and tourism, like I said, is always good. So anytime we can encourage that, whether it be inside the city limits or outside, we're always going to take that opportunity, but we're happy to help no matter what. And I actually put in this proposal as well, you know, if you all prefer to go a different route, that's fine. I would recommend and encourage you to take this proposal as planned and use it. If you know a better method to implement it, please do, but this is available to you either way. So this is because I really do think that tourism in the county can grow, and I think it can benefit all of us.
Just for example, if I might, defining branding guide, those are going to be items that will be placed in all points that visitors enter and stay in Graham, Texas, to the motels that are specific to the fort. Now, the fort is kind of an ad hoc mention to the rest of the events that are occurring. The branding guide, the social media graphics are very important. The social media marketing is really primary. It will have its own website.
Well, yes, so
Or have
right
its own
now,
Facebook
yeah,
page.
that's really more the website can be included, that's fine, and I think there's already a website that exists, we could just run.
They got, the archives has
We
a,
could-
Dorman has an archive.
We could spruce it
But
up
these
a
are
little
the
bit.
things that we're putting into
Really
motion
essentially,
that will evolve.
Correct, yeah,
and
this is on a
start
much
to take place.
larger scale than what we've been able to do in the past.
Right. The logo, we're very fortunate in that we already have a logo. Jim, stand up a second.
Just a pretty
That
face.
logo is already fairly well recognized by some of the visitors that come here, and it will hold us in good stead, I think, in the years to come. Not that there won't be some evolution, but it's a good logo. What you mentioned about the historians and what have you, March 26th and 27th.
22nd, 23rd.
How many are you estimating to come to the Rick
Well-
Johnson Symposium?
The phone calls that I've been getting so far, we're looking at between 75 and 100 people coming.
Okay, and that starts on a Friday night
Friday afternoon, yeah, actually, Friday afternoon.
and
it's-
continues to Saturday. So here's an opportunity to rent bed and breakfast, motel rooms, what have you. These history symposiums are going to be very important as you're well interested in that kind of thing. So this is the marketing plan and the things that will grow and come out of it. Once again, this is the initial plan. Chris has agreed to come to us on a quarterly basis and give us an idea about how it's working, where the money is being spent. And of course, the thing about the money is not a consistent, we spend $10 a day. I mean, there's projects that money will be spent on at the end of the year. She runs out of money, she's got to wait till the next tax year to get it.
The total annual expense you predict or you expect to be $9,900?
Yes, sir.
That's almost over $10,000.
Well,
allocated.
Let me tell you where that comes from.
Well,
She had this
well,
broken.
well, does that include the erecting signs or something on our entryways into our county?
No, it does not include any of the highway signage. I think that would be something Mr. Stetson and I talked about possibly working with TxDOT on.
Well-
A little outside of my purview. I didn't want to include things that I don't feel capable of executing, but I did include the on-site signage with it, which I think it's more under the marketing scope, but very important.
If it was in the highway right away, it would be TxDOT, and then if TxDOT would have some kind of regulation, I'm sure even off of the right of way on private property, but I suspect it would take some private
I'm
property
happy to
thing
assist.
to do that,
Happy to
but I don't
assist.
think it could get done with.
Let me tell you though, yes, okay? The 9,900 comes because Krista had it broken down into a monthly fee and she hadn't rounded it up to a $10,000 budget. And I asked her to give us an annual amount, and she just multiplied that times 12 and got the 9,900. Okay, I just thought it'd be easier for us to pay the $10,000 one time, rather than you have to worry about taking a check every month out of that account to do so. And yes, what we would like to do about that type of signage though, is work with TxDOT to get us the signage now, but we didn't want to advertise something that we don't quite have yet. Inviting someone to see spectacular Fort Belknap, you know, and then them come into what the condition the museum is currently, and the lack of needed restrooms and other facilities that need to be refurbished and restored and redone. Thought we might like to get a year or so and get the projects going so people can see what we're doing out there.
We've been promoting it like that as far as we can for years and years. We've always needed those signage to tell you where it is.
Mhm.
I mean, it's, to the traveler, it's just passing on the highway, it's kind of unknown. You know, I mean, they don't know about Fort Belknap, so we've always needed that.
Well, with the social media and the marketing guides and the branding and the marketing driving tours and that kind of thing, we'll put them there without the signs. And we can, if that's necessary, we can make room in this budget for those kind of signs. You notice we have $1,000 budgeted for on-site signage. Because one of the biggest problems is when people drive into the fort, they don't know what building is which and where to go and this kind of thing. So that signage is more important, I believe, first off, to make sure that when they do arrive at the destination, there is something there for them to go by and something to see when they get there. So.
And we're seeing a shift even at the Graham CVB where the road signage, while still very important, if people know where they're headed and use those road signs to make sure they're going the right way, etc. But we want to attract them in the first place first. And likely the road signage is not going to make them, if they're passing through and they see us out on the highway, they're not going to say, hey, we should stop at Fort Belknap. It could happen here and there, but more likely they're going to, you know, somebody's planning a trip or somebody's looking for something to do with their kids this weekend or whatever it may be, and they see something on social media. And that's going to drive them that direction. So we want to start there. I do think that we could evaluate the road sign with TxDOT's help and expertise, and see if that's something we can implement. But I think that starting here gets more people there. And then, of course, as Mr. South said, the updates and repairs, restoration to the museum, I think is imperative as we begin to market it more effectively. That's going to be a really important piece of it.
But that's where we live in today. If you want to find somebody or find someplace, you go to social media.
Right.
It tells you exactly where it is, and there you go.
We probably have better usage of a Google map update than we would a road sign.
Brandon?
Yeah, Judge, I don't mean to interrupt or Chris either, but one asset I think we should bring in on the road sign side is the Texas Forts Trail. They have the ability of their state organization, Margaret Hoopstra is stationed out of Abilene. I think Margaret could help. Margaret could lend a lot of information to us on how to get that done. I think there should be state funds that would be able to put more state signage up. I understand where you're coming from on the landowner, but I'll tell you, TxDOT has got very difficult to deal with on signs that are off premise or on the edge of the highway. So either way, whatever direction we go, whether it be in TxDOT's right of way or off there, our best asset to be able to help get that promoted is through the Forts Trail, I would think. And until we have that conversation with Margaret, we wouldn't know exactly what money would be.
Maybe we need to make that stop Wednesday while we're in Austin.
She's housing Abilene.
But she comes often. And Jim, are you on that board?
I'll communicate with Margaret.
Yeah.
So,
Fairly often.
so you see the complexity of the entire plan and the dynamics of this whole situation. We need to put it, the county does not have the expertise or this place for it. So we need to get it in motion, hand it over to Krista. Let us just watch over it, nurture it, let her do her thing with it, so she knows what she's doing. And let's just keep an eye on, make sure we hatch as many eggs as we possibly can hatch with what we've got. So does anyone have any other concerns?
So in a nutshell, we're just paying for her to promote.
We're
Our
not
money is
paying.
our money, but
We're
she
not.
just promotes for us.
Right, she's spending our money on the promotion.
Yes.
Without spending any money.
Yeah.
Yes. I did waive the administrative fee, there's no cost for administration in this. Like I said, I believe wholeheartedly that tourism is beneficial for all of us as a whole, and that's the way that we're looking at it. I've had this approved by both the Chamber Board and the CBP Board, who also agree that this is great for our entire county. So we're looking forward to helping and working together. This is something I think that will benefit us far beyond this one proposal, but I'm really excited about it. But there is no administrative fee into our office to execute this one.
Commissioner Rogers, you're awfully quiet.
Yeah, well, year one, year two, I'm more prioritized with infrastructure, getting it up to speed and all that. But I understand website building, signage, highway signage is a priority.
That's the reason this is only 20% of our money.
More than gift shop inventory, you know, don't prioritize that.
The gift shop inventory is part of marketing products that are branded at the fort. So the $40,000 that we're talking about spending on the restoration of the fort and the reconditioning of the fort is going to be spent in signage outside. And remember, this signage right here, on-site signage, is within our marketing budget. Those signs that the judge is talking about can come out of that $40,000 outside that. We're initially talking about starting on the south end of the museum, building new cases at that end. Obviously, we don't have the money to completely go in there and do everything we need to do. We've got to worry about electricity, got to worry about plumbing, HVAC. There's a great many things that need to be done. We can't do them all at one time. It's like drinking out of a fire hose. But we do have to start somewhere. And when we talked about this, we talked about putting the emphasis on Fort Belknap for maybe 5 years of the HOT to begin with. Then there's no reason that we can't become more involved in marketing other county one-armed dove hunt can use those kind of things. And when the one-armed dove hunt brings visitors to town, it'll also bring visitors to Fort Belknap. It'll also fill up the motels in Grayton. And it'll fill up whatever motels are in Albany and the bed and breakfast. I mean, this marketing plan with the HOT money, even though right now it's flavored Fort Belknap, does not have to stay Fort Belknap, but it does have to stay Young County tourism, heads and beds, hotel money.
Sir. I also think maybe worth noting, if you don't mind, some of these items on here, and I mentioned this in those written out tactics, but some of the items on here like event promotion, gift shop inventory, these are truly investments because there's a return associated. So what year before last, Jim, correct, when we did the t-shirts for the school field trip?
You can't.
Made $1,500
Yeah, you
net?
can't keep t-shirts in there.
Yeah,
They
so
just,
they're popular, but I included the expense side of it because that's where I'll be operating, but I did not include the revenue side of it, of course, because that's not within my scope. But there is a revenue stream associated with gift shop inventory, so I think it's worth noting that some of these are truly investments that actually do have a return.
But who's to say that through this marketing and the social media and other stuff, that people come to it? There may be somebody come along and say, you know what, I see this is something that needs to be invested in. Can I make a donation to it?
Right, we'll have that donation box.
There's all kind of avenues and what ifs that can be involved in this situation. So you never know.
For an example, right now, Crawfish and Cannons, very unique event that has the potential of great growth. Jim, what was the budget for Crawfish and Cannons last year?
whatever Amber and I spent on crawfish.
Jim and Amber haven't included the bill for Crawfish and Cannons last year.
What about the items in the gift shop? He just said they have to pay for them.
That was part of their employment contract, is that they get the proceeds from
But they
the
have
gift
to
shop
do the
items.
outlay.
But the gift shop items are limited, so to the amount of money that they're able to take out of their family budget to put the.
Well, I was just wondering, can we use donation money if they bought the products and then paid it back? Or is that not?
That would be a legal question that you as county treasurer could answer for me.
Well, I mean, it would be like a loan to buy the product, and then after they made the
That has to do
revenue.
with the policy for Bell Mountain, that probably ought to be discussed.
That can be discussed as policy, sure.
Well, that's one reason I brought it up too. I didn't want to step on Jim's toes. You know.
But, I mean,
Jim understands, we
yeah,
discussed it.
No, yeah.
There are no, 800-pound gorillas in the room. We've tried to discuss everything there is. I'd like to know whatever problems we have need to be discussed in an open forum so we can overcome them and go on down the road with them.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are there any other comments?
I'd like to make a last comment, or maybe the last, but a couple of comments I think to keep in mind. You guys sit in the same shoes that I do, and obviously hotel motel tax dollars are specific. They have to be spent in a specific area. And so when you get those questions from taxpayers that come to you, hey, are you spending those funds right? This will be this is one of the allowed expenses, a marketing plan. You could start your own CDB, but we've got our CDB in place, so you're partnering with us. And to the other side of that, I know we've got some questions going in, but I think we could all agree that the $10,000 we're going to spend on this marketing plan this year, even if added to the $40,000, isn't going to fix Fort Belknap up to the point where we want it. Let's take that chance. Let's do it for 1 year, and let's see if we can facilitate and help and take those strides that we can all do together with Fort Belknap. If after a year it's not successful, then I think that's the time to take a hard look at it. But, you know, to overanalyze this at this point and make judgment on it, I think would be premature.
Chris, do you have any kind of formal instrument in hand, or does it need to be put together?
This is the most formal thing that I have, so if you want it in contract form, I'll
Yes,
just send
it
it to
needs
you.
to be in contract.
Okay. Yeah, all I have is the proposal, but if you all approve the proposal, then I'll put together a contract and send that to you. Approve and sign the contract. That works.
Okay. We've got the motion.
So
I
moved.
appreciate it.
I'll second that.
Motion here. Second, we enter into marketing plan with regard to Fort Belknap with Graham Chamber CDB. That'd be correct?
Would that be better stated that enhance Young County tourism rather than with
Yes,
Fort
sir,
Belknap?
that would be wonderful.
Yes.
Be a much better
That'd
idea
be
for you all.
Okay. Change that to make it, well, those hot funds were specific for Belknap whenever we entered into that agreement, it was specific. So,
I think if you don't mind, Judge, I think the best way to word it would be that these hot funds are to increase tourism in Young County using Fort Belknap, the asset that we have in Fort Belknap, to draw visitors.
okay. With regard to the marketing of Fort Belknap and Young County. how
Yes,
about
sir,
that?
that'd be good.
And that's pursuant to the proposal presented at this meeting, and Chris is gonna get us a document that I or everybody's gonna execute, however you want to do that.
We stop right at signature to get. That way you can prepare it for
You got that all
Yes,
clear?
sir.
No,
No?
but I'll go back over it.
Okay. We'll go over it, no, you know. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll enter into that contractual agreement pursuant to this proposal. Okay?
And I think it's a good deal that we're, Young County is entering an agreement with Newcastle, Graham, Alney, and I like it. I think that's what we're here for, to work together, so.
Thank you all.
Kristen, we thank you for all your hard work you've been doing. You all
a lot of time and effort.
Thank you, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Now we can continue the second part of that, spending the other side of that money, the $40,000. As you all are aware of, or may not be, there's still a old cannon sitting out there in the middle of the parade ground. Cannon that's been falling apart for years and has needed some attention. Well, it's difficult to ask the taxpayers to pay for a cannon that they may or may not see the worth of. Jim has found someone who is willing to restore that cannon and create something special to put on display. And Jim, I'll let you take it from there, sir.
So, Ray Johnson does this kind of work. It's kind of a very specific work. He was out at our event in October. Anyway, after talking with him and kind of seeing the plight of the little gray cannon, we don't have a name for it, we're just calling it Little Gray Cannon out there. He said that he'd be more than willing to rebuild it for us. I told him, Young County financial situation, we don't have the money to do, because it usually costs about $10,000 with labor included. He decided he's gonna waive his labor fee on it if we can pay him the money to rebuild it, pay for the supplies to rebuild it. He'll do that as a benefit, as a donation to us. Because whenever he came out to the event, he absolutely loved the way we handled things out there. So he came, he picked the cannon up to get it, but he needs the money to get the parts and get the wood and stuff for it. Now, he put on his thing here $3,000. We can actually take $1,000 off of that because he was able to find exact wheels for that and bought those right out instead of having to have wheels made. So it's actually $2,000.
So the original estimate he gave you was for more expensive wheels. He's going to spend more for them than what he's spending for them?
Yeah, he has the wheels in place. He's got to pay for those wheels, and that's why I'm trying to get this. And of course, this is coming from the hotline, so he's going to replace the wood, the wore-out wooden structure on the trail on it and all that stuff with the red wood. He'll treat it, paint it. He's got pictures of what the cannon looked like before, so we can restore it back to the way that it needs to look. But he's going to go back in with the metal, all the metal fixtures and stuff, and use actually historical metal fixtures instead of screws and stuff, square bolts instead of regular wood screws and stuff like that. And also, in the end, it will be a functioning cannon again. So
It will.
Yeah, he'll turn it, because what happened was whenever they put it out there, they turned it over. So the spike hole's not on there. He's gonna turn it out, bore it out again, clean it up. He's got an x-ray machine to make sure there's no cracks or anything in there. If there are cracks in there, there's I don't know the term, but there is and I don't want to say sealant because it sounds like I'm talking the window, but there's something you put in the crack to adhere it, so that it will be a safe functioning cannon.
Magnafluxing.
What's that?
Magnafluxing.
That's what you do.
Make sure it's not
That's
cracked.
what you do to check to if it's a crack in it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's,
Make sure you be safe.
And the cannon itself, the barrel itself is actually in really good shape for it being how it's been for so long.
What year model is this, or cannon is this?
It's a replica.
Yeah, it's a replica, it's not, so all the research that we've done on that, the bore size is the only 100% accurate thing on there. Of course, the materials, it's based off of, if you watch John Wayne, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, he's running out of the fort. You watch in the background, there's a little cannon that looks exactly like ours. That was, at that time, that was how they built those cannons. And it resembles more of a French style cannon than it does an American style cannon.
Anecdotally, I understand. Do you know where that cannon came from, sir?
Yes, it was donated out there by Norman Askew originally.
How long ago was that?
Oh, I don't know, 20 years or so.
Years ago?
It has been rebuilt once. It was reconditioned pretty soon after. It was out
Do you know
there.
where it came from?
No, I don't know where it came from.
There's some-
Raymond Hanna rebuilt it originally.
There's some anecdotal evidence that with Norman Askew, that it actually came from California. And that he might have gotten that cannon from a Hollywood movie prop location.
We're trying to chase
So,
that lead down.
That cannon possibly was used in several westerns as a movie prop. So once again, that's completely anecdotal. We're trying to find out more information on that.
And I've talked
It might have
with-
been longer than that. It might have been 25 years.
I've talked with,
This would be from the mid-50s.
and I have talked with Askew family. They were out there in October. They came out there and we kind of told them what my plans were, and they were 100% supportive of it. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the idea that we could possibly be able to fire that thing again is kind of that's kind of just an interesting.
That's what we need, is you another toy out there.
Yeah. Those things get powder like crazy, but anyway, what I'm asking for is instead of 3,000, it's 2,000 out of the hot to spend to get, so I can get that finished.
Do you think 2,000 will do it?
And what he said was, it'll probably come in under 2,000, he'll reimburse what is not. He's gonna keep receipts and everything for what he spends, on this, so we can have, and whatever we've given him that he doesn't spend, he will give back to us, because he doesn't want to take any fee for it, any payment or anything like that, so.
Then, I would like to make a motion that we allow a $2,000 budget out of pot money for the restoration of the small gray cannon at Fort Belknap.
This is appropriate use of that HOT money, rebuilding it.
I'll second that motion.
Although I think that 10,000 would have been a little bit high, but I think 2,000 is,
Well, the thing with rebuilding though is the labor to put one of those together is always more expensive than the material.
Hours and time.
The shaping, and to build a wooden wheel is not an easy task.
kind of like building a road.
Yeah.
Make it so.
One piece at a time.
Okay, we've got a motion, Pruitt, is that right?
Sipes.
Sipes.
Second by Pruitt.
Second by Pruitt. To allow $2,000 of the,
Revenues?
well, that's hot funds, what's that line called, the
What do you have that in?
permanent
We
improvement?
call it capital improvement in
Capital
the budget.
improvement, capital improvements within the Fort Belknap line to be allocated to the rebuilding of the small camp display. Got good enough?
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0. Okay, we'll get that counted.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Moving on to item number 9. Consider road crossing permits. One location, digital passage, Springwood and Wolf Road. In Springwood, it's Wolf Road, I guess, in Diana. Precinct 1.
First I've heard about it, but is it road cut or bore?
That's digital passage.
No.
It says board.
Huh, they're on board?
And the next is Fort Belknap Water Corporation at Russell Road in Precinct 4, and also in Rogers Road in Precinct 4. And those, I don't know them.
Yeah,
Maybe.
James Barry called me on both of those already.
He has.
Yes.
You thought it was mine.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy's.
Yeah, I told him, I said, no, I said, that's mine.
All of those permits are exempted from payment for
Yeah.
permit
Yeah,
fees.
they're all exempted from it.
It's okay with me. I move we approve all these permits.
I'll second that.
Motion by Sipes, second by Wiley, to authorize road crossing permits as described, with waiving of fees. Is that correct?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0. Item number 10 is discuss and consider medical contract with Brazos Family Clinic. I think y'all may have that already. Do you have that?
Yep. Didn't read you to it. Reading.
Okay,
That's a real personalized, focused agreement.
let Marcia and Mitch enter into the discussion here. If you have something that you think that make note of.
You all right?
Well, after Mitch and I both one another have visited Mr. Clark, I think it pretty much covers everything that he's included for the jail. So, and I think it'll save us some money.
I was gonna ask, what was the reason, we were in a contract with them on one time, why did we get out of it?
He was working with Family Medical Clinic at that time.
Yeah, he was working there as a grand.
He was part of
Yes,
that.
he was part of that.
GMA.
I was wondering what the deal was.
Yeah, no, he was just part
I
of
just
it.
couldn't remember.
At point, one of the, I was sick that day. We did a good job there. I think, did you have a change?
Well, I just, what I suggest to do, this is broken down into a monthly invoice thing, I believe. If I looked over that correctly.
For the
I
nurse.
made,
Nurse and doctor.
We were doing it.
I made the term to begin on March the 15th. That's when our contract will
Right.
be completed with Graham, Young County Family Clinic and Graham Regional Medical Center. I made this begin that, and then I also made it terminate on the first time, 12/31/2019, and it's got the automatically renewal term in there on 2.1 that says the agreement will automatically renew for an additional 12 months if not otherwise renegotiated, or stated in 2.2, which is the 30-day notice. So that is put it at first of the year again, and we wouldn't have to be thinking about that in the middle of the year sometime. And it would be after we had completed our budget works and all that. I mean, that was the reason for making that in there. And also, let's say I put there to begin on January the 1st of each year following. That's what I was,
Just change the verbiage.
I just added a little to it.
Yep.
And then over on, I added our insurance coverage that we have, I think correctly, 2 million per claim and 2 million aggregate. And then 7.1 compensation, it states, the fee payment schedule is set forth on attachment B. Invoices shall be prepared by BLC and sent to the jail on a monthly basis, no later than the 10th day of each calendar month. Jail shall pay such invoice, actually that'll be, Ms. Auditor will pay
Yes.
such invoice. It says within 10 days, and I've noted that and amended that to 15 days if that's.
Okay, because that way we can help.
Two.
And he didn't realize how,
It gives us a few extra days, and we may be in between meetings sometime. So those are the little things that I have modified, and although I will make a note that the initial cost on this, sometime after, you expect things to go up, it gets a little bit higher in the initial cost or projected cost of $38,000 rather than 35.
yes and no. It depends on how many we have, if he has to see any over, but that's how it is right now.
Well, I know that's how it is right now. We're
He
been
realizes
spending a good bit.
he realizes we
Concerned about
set a,
cost.
yeah, we set a budget, how we do everything. But he will work with us to keep those costs down.
So, this contract, if it's agreeable with all, would be, March the 15th would be the effective date initially, and then moving to January 1.
Can I ask a question, Mitch? Sure. How long did, I can't remember, but how long do they have to be in jail before they're eligible to see a doctor? I mean, if I come in and I'm like, oh, I think I have
immediately.
Cancer, you can take me to the doctor.
I have to.
Right, okay.
It's, yeah, that's.
And under the Sandra Bland Act, and we're very fortunate that we have an ER in this county, because there's some counties that don't. So then you got some counties that are having to provide a teledoc on top of a telemental health by 2020. If you don't have something like this in place, and you don't have a local ER that's staffed 24 hours, so.
Then maybe I'm thinking of the TB test. They could be there, what?
No, TB test is done within the first 2 days.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. 48
No, they have 48 hours.
Right.
And we normally,
That's what I was thinking.
if they don't make bond in that first 24, then they get TB tested.
Right.
And we're running into more and more that we can't give them the serum. We're actually having to take them down there to get x-rays. If they've ever tested positive because of the serum, it doesn't matter that all their x-rays have been negative in the past, they still have to go get an x-ray. So, but anyway.
They tighten things a lot of ways.
They do. But no, if they come in and they say, I've got this health issue, they see the nurse that next day. Unless it's the weekend.
And it's when you're asking for the judge, hey, how about a PR?
Well, sometimes we do that,
Yeah.
depending on the charge and the circumstances.
Right, exactly.
Sometimes we can't. I mean, I've got 2 in there that are on some very, very expensive medications because of their
Right.
issues, okay? And if they ever run out of that, we're talking about several $100 a month.
Wow.
So, I'm pressing the court to, let's try to move their cases forward. Right now, we're getting assistance from the state, but that's gonna run out in another couple of months, and we're gonna.
Well, just, Mitch, we've got the court about as current as it's been in.
No, not county court, I'm talking about district court. I'm talking about, we've got people in jail that's been in there for 2 years, Your Honor.
Yeah.
They still haven't gone to trial yet, and
The judge got offended.
yeah, it has nothing to do with county court. Let's make this clear. Not county court. Of course,
There is reasons that they can't be PR now.
correct.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're serious
You know,
charges.
it's extremely important that we get a handle on this some way, because when we were at the conference, the Sandra Bland Act is about to become a monster.
Yes,
The
sir.
vendors with these
We know.
psychological teleconferencing,
Well, now, and
have learned how to turn on the spigot.
I was telling Commissioner White, I'm working on a proposal with surrounding counties to do a co-op between us and Jack and Archer.
Very
Even
proactive, that's good.
we're trying to get a co-op together so that we're not paying that $300 every time somebody punches the button
Yeah.
and wants to talk to a teledoc because they're having emotional problems and they miss their teddy bears.
Be interested in that too?
Well, the problem with Stevens is, matter of fact, the sheriff and the jail administrator, both over there, we've talked to several times. The problem is they're in a different
Oh,
mental health
I got you.
authority.
You're right.
It doesn't matter. We can still do it, but that means they're gonna have to put in their funds, and how they're gonna do that, I don't know.
So we have to stay within our regions where our money.
Stephen, they're in a different mental health authority
I
than
just
we
figured
are.
since they were the same.
But like the sheriff from Baylor County, they're starting to use us more, and he's even said, hey, let me know what that is, let me look at that. He might be willing to get into that co-op with us, because whether they're in our jail or Archer, it's gonna come under their expense, so to speak.
Do we have any inmates in the jail right now that are been court ordered to go to a mental facility?
No.
There's 700 of them statewide, and the average wait time is 8 months.
11.
11?
11
The
months.
word we got down there was 8 months.
Yeah, they always do that, but if I was.
They're not reimbursing the counties for that stay?
No.
And the other thing is, they give a projection, they're supposed to be, 2025. They went that far out as to new beds and new facilities. With what they've got projected will not cover what's on the wait list right now. What's on the wait list right now.
And here's the problem, it's not necessarily, beds are an issue, but staffing's another issue. You've got the hospital in Big Springs that has 120 beds that they cannot use because they don't have the staffing. So it's not, beds are only one part of that problem. Staffing is another issue depending on which hospital you go to in the state. And right now, if you have somebody that has a violent, let's say it's an aggravated assault, the only place they can go is to Vernon. And Vernon is a 12-month wait to get a bed in
But
Vernon.
how can the courts order the county to move a patient to a mental facility that's not there, that should be provided by the state, and send the county taxpayer the bill for it not being?
They just,
It's
That is
an
an unfunded
mandate. And you're going to see more of that in the coming next couple of years, because right now, to get somebody into the North Texas State Hospital in Wichita Falls is about an 8 to 10 month wait. Now, you might have an emergency order, you might get them in there for 5 to 7 days, but if they had to go up there for an extended period, that wait is right now almost 11 months.
You see what they're doing, they turned our jails into mental institutions.
They are expo.
Well, you're talking about from there, if they're convicted that, or if they've got a charge against them before they can be convicted, it's just, it's a matter of restoration.
Correct.
And other than that, we don't, in this court, we don't have any authority to sentence somebody to a treatment facility or like that without a court proceeding of some sort to order their long-term mental health services.
Correct.
I mean, and they're hard tasks to do.
Well, I mean, prime example, we had the one that we sent up there from district court after he already did like 8 months there.
Mm-hmm.
He was in our jail, then he went up there, he came back, because they said he was restored, he was ready, he was competent to stand trial. Well, we had a hearing, no he's not, so they sent him back. Well, then he escapes, and he gets shot, and I had to fight with Wichita County because they wanted us to come get him.
No.
And I'm like, you shot him, you keep him. And so, but they literally did, they were going to PR him. Well, we were the ones that originally sentenced him to the state hospital for restoration, right?
Right.
Well, when I asked them to take him back, they were going to transfer him over to Vernon after all that, and he got released from the hospital. And their DA refused. And so we had a little battle there for a while.
Did Injured Medical pay for his injuries by being shot?
Yes.
in Wichita.
In Wichita.
In Wichita.
But they were trying to get him out of the jail, and because they missed that window to get him back to the state hospital, because they were going to take him once he was released from the hospital, all they had to do is release him to the state hospital. And they didn't do that. So now he's still sitting over there. And he's...
The meter's running.
And it's their expense now.
Yes.
But I mean, we run into this a lot more times than what y'all realize with the mental health stuff. So...
Okay, we need to move on here.
Yeah.
So move on the contract.
Okay.
Just look at that money pot, watching it boil.
Yeah.
We got a motion by Commissioner Pruitt.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilder to enter into the contract as described, and we need to get that modified just slightly.
Okay, can you sign it then?
Yeah, to be effective on March the 15th, 2019, and to run through the calendar year and all so well, it'll renew on January 1. So, and that's at the stated prices in the contract and in the exhibits. That would be with Brazos Family Clinic and Joe Clark. And he does have an MD on staff.
Yes.
He works under one.
Works at one.
It's Dr. Shepard, actually.
Under Jackson.
Yes.
Make that note. All in favor? Aye. That's 5-0.
They call that a supervising MD.
Yeah.
So Judge, I just get the contract back to you with the changes?
Here's the one, that's the one I put the little
Okay. Okay.
notes on,
Do I have to bring it back to Commissioners Court again?
all you just bring it, we'll execute it and write it.
Let me see if I can.
Okay. Thank
They
you.
weren't, they got
Appreciate
these
it.
credit, they got deducted, it may just be something like that.
Let's see, item number 12. We're gonna run that out.
I'll let you know.
Now.
Can we do 11 real quick?
Let's take a little break before we do
What
that.
about 11?
11.
Do 11 and take a break.
11, no action.
If you can wait just a few minutes, we'll be done. I've got another proceeding at 11.
Oh, okay.
You can,
We're not gonna
Yeah.
do,
2 year
we're
on.
not gonna do the closed session.
we're gonna do the closed session. Need a little break? 5 minutes?
5 minutes? Yeah.
Okay.
Burn
Wait
ban.
for 5 minutes.
They haven't closed.
Jimmy's gotta go. Didn't know we was having a meeting on the day the court was open book.
Judge,
Senate Bill 303,
Judge,
have you seen it? Where they want to
I
start,
approved it.
okay, well, they want to make all the phone calls in the jail free. That,
That's just another expense.
well, that money, the money that we get off of, not just what y'all get, but we make money off that too. Through commissary, because we sell phone calls.
Right.
That's what I buy, uniforms and mattresses and all that stuff out of that
It's an
account.
expense offset, sure.
So, you know, there's probably 50, and I buy all the over-the-counter meds and all that kind of stuff, you know, the Tylenol, the ibuprofen, all that stuff comes out of that account. You know,
So they're wrecking that account.
well, I mean, at the end of the year, I had 50,000 in that thing, and, you know, I was probably spending 20 or 25 of that buying mattresses and uniforms and hygiene items for the indigent people,
Right.
those kind of things. So the other problem you're going to run into with